My name is Vlad. I'm head of product at Smelter.ai. Thanks for having me today. And I'm going to talk you how we learn to understand the word of mouth mention generated by users in Smelter. So today's agenda. A couple of words about the Smelter. What is the Smelter, and why it's important to understand and monitor a word of mouth mention of a brand and companies, and how Smelter helps to understand word of mouth. What is the requirement for the solution, for the labeling, for the understanding word of mouth, which we have, and how we implement word of mouth classification in our product. And after that, I share the couple of results we got. So the Smelter solved two main tasks. The first task is gathering data from the web. From the social media, from the online media. We gathering data based on keywords and about the companies, about the brands, about the different products of the company. We gathered such data from the different sources, such as social media, online media, from forums, blogs, and so on. So the second task is to analyze such mention. It's analyzing such mentions and inside instruction. So we helps to specialists to analyze sentiment over time, to rate share of voice, and to calculate different aggregation numbers to know what's going on inside about their brands, about their products in the media space. So basically, Smelter cover three main use cases. It's brand management, it's competitor analysis, and monitoring for small businesses. But we want to go further, and basically this is the PR segments. This is use cases for PR segment, but we wants to go further, and we wants to help. We want that our solution could help not only in PR segment but also in marketing segment. So we decided to implement the word of mouth classification in our product. So what is word of mouth classification and why it's important to monitor? Word of mouth is the customer-to-customer communication. So is the messages which customers share with each other about the brand, about the company, how the customers use the product, or about their opinion of the entire product or service. And I give you only a few numbers why it's important to monitor. Word of mouth is primarily a factor behind the 20 to 50% of all purchasing decisions, and the 19% of people more likely to trust and buy from a brand recommended by their friends. That's why it's very important to monitor such mentions, and it's work in a positive direction. In a positive way, if the brand have a lot of negative mentions or bad mentions, negative opinion, that it could harm to their sales. So But there are issues to find mentions from the whole internet and analyze these mentions from the whole internet is not an easy task because of the every day generates a lot of content. Users share a lot of information with each other. A lot of mention generates, and manual labeling, even if you use a distributed labeling system, it's limited. For such complex tasks like a worm classification, like a labeling of worm classes, we calculate that we're limited by the 3,000 mentions per day. We could label 3,000 mentions per day. But the requirements. So the middle-sized brand needs to generate from 1 to 3,000 mentions daily, and the large customers brand generates more than 10,000 mentions daily. So that's why we need to automate the process of word-of-mouth classification. And now I show you how we did it. So we decided to implement such classification, and we choose these classes of our word of mouth. Some of these classes are negative, some of these positive, and some of these classes depends on the context in the text. And we decided to automate such classification with ML. So as a result, we expected that our users could give the ability to analyze, to understand the complaints in such mentions, to understand the integration or gratitude in such mention. As this is the result what we expect. I mean the ability to understand such mentions. So let's before I jump to the story how we implement it. Let's try to label in a couple examples by our hands. And so this is the real example, real mention about the Viva Aerobus. It's the low coster from the LATAM region. So what do you think? What is the class of word of mouth this mentions belongs to? Who thinks that it is incident? Okay, who thinks that it's a complaint? And who thinks that it needs support reaction? Yeah, you're right. It needs support reaction. So next example. This is some story with the mosquitoes. So what do I think? Who thinks that it is opinion? No one. Okay, who thinks that it's a complaint? Yeah, definitely. Oops, sorry. It's a complaint about mosquitoes, about some situation. So these guys with the robots, it's always happen some strange things, and it's not surprising. So what's the requirements for such services? Which helps to analyze it, which helps to labeling such mentions? Because Smelter is a tool. It's a self-service tool, and the new users appear daily, and we have users who work now with the Smelter. So we have several requirements for the implementation of word-of-mouth classification. It's a scalability, integrability into microservice architecture, and sustainability of such solution, stability of model quality, because the new text and new mentions could appear from the new sources. That's why for the quality of the model, the quality of classification, word of mouth could decrease because of the new type of data. That's why we need to we need to control the quality of the model infinitely, and we need to adopt the quality of the model. So the next requirement is the labeling that users could trust, because we heard a lot from the real users that if you give them the black box and if you don't describe how this model works, they don't trust to the results. And the last one is the classification in different languages, because for now we are focused on LATAM region, but we want to launch in the new regions, and that's why we need to easily implement this model in the different languages. So how we implement this solution? We use the adaptive ML models from Toloka. And how does it work? So we find in the dimensions from the internet. We parse this mention, we parse this data, extract the mentions. After that, we send the text of this mention to adaptive ML models. And this service, as a result, gives us the certain warm word of mouth class, which this mentions belongs to. So let's check our requirements. Scalability. The growing of new users leads to the growing of new mentions and leads to the growing of new requests to the models. And the adaptive models could scale because they work in the cloud, and it's automatically scaled by editing new instances. And this requirement is done. So every day, from the real flow of data, we sample the data, and this real sample of the data go to the adaptive models, and the adaptive models inside the adaptive models, the real humans labeling the data by their instructions, and and after that we evaluate the quality of the models by this labeling data. If the quality model is falling, so we understand in what examples this quality is falling, and we added these examples to the training data set, training and test data sets, and retrain the model. And the brilliant thing that's happened, this is work inside the adaptive models. So we don't need to do anything, it's work automatically. So the classification in different languages. We have a basic instruction for the talkers who label the data in English. And if we need to add another language, then we adapt and translate this instruction to another language. With the help of language detection, we generate the data sets on the local languages, and we start and we're labeling the new data. We're labeling new data in the new language with the local talkers, and after that we get labeled data sets on the new language, and we retrain the model based on these new data sets. And it's a very easy way, because we because we have already an instruction and it's work, and it's work very fast in another language as well. So what we got as result? 3 main bullets. No numbers. I have definitely I have not especially technical speech. So 3 main things for our product is the minimum workloads of our ML engineers. It's inference in several languages. So we launched the ML classification, word of mouth classification in 3 new languages, in English, in Portuguese, and Spanish, because we focus on the LATAM region. And we have the sustainability and scalability of ML models. It's not our headache. It's inside the adaptive ML models, and we get as a service. So this is my last slide. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, yeah.
I was just wanting to know if you take into account any sort of replies and threading that does not necessarily include the original mention of the subject, but have practically the same maybe relevance.
So for now we gather the dimensions based on the keywords, and if in this mention there is no any keywords, that we don't gather it. So it's the I think we only start to train our models, to train our system to gathering the mentions and the thread inside these mentions. So for now, we don't have such information. We gather only which mentions with have the keywords inside.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it possible to separate region of languages? I mean that some people like speak Portuguese or Spanish,
Yeah.
and if brand Apple, for example, wants to like count mentions from LATAM,
Yeah.
can we do it?
We have, yes, sometimes in profile, people mention that they're from Chile or from Peru or from Spain. So we use this information. We have a large database of users from the social networks, and we use this information to separate. If we talk about the online media, then we see on the domain of the sites where we find the mentions, and we separate like that.
Hello, Vlad.
Hello.
It's a nice service for goods and services, as I think. But explain me, possible to use the service for the trading on the capital markets or investing in the different companies?
And if you want to understand something, if you want to understand how this particular brand is presented in the media space, in this and this. So we could gather the data based on keywords, and keywords could be everything. So it could be people, it could be brand, product, the name of the service, and so on. So you could gather the data about this type of these objects. But if you, for example, asked about the financial stocks, you got a lot of information which I think constructed, and you could get insights from this data. And I think we in the future we could understand and we could gather information by the industries. But for now we have only this type of keywords: brand, companies, products, humans.
No, in other words, you can. It's possible in the future.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a kind of I had a kind of similar question, but yeah, I wanted to gather. Can we gather keywords in to one prediction to get a sentiment for a couple of keywords and understand? For example, if it's a stock, it would be I could get two keywords that communicate to the same stock. So this is one question. And another one is, did you had to do some modification after incorporating the system with the total cares because you lost control a bit? On the other hand, you gained on the other benefits. Did you have to do any other modification to counteract that?
Yeah, let's start from the first question. Truly speaking, I don't know. We need to try. If you have your keywords that you could try to, so you could visit our website and you could find there the 7-day free trial version where you could launch your own channels and try to gather the data about different keywords. The second one, could you repeat the question, please?
Of course, when you incorporated the system with the tolokers and you get scale and you got the adaptive mail, you gained a lot of capabilities. On the other hand, you lost a bit of control.
Yeah.
Have you done something to counteract that, to address this inside the company?
Yeah. This is the great question because we need to solve this question for now because we have in the scheme we have our own in-house ML models, sentiment and significant mentions, and we launched the new adaptive ML models in adaptive ML models, and we try to see how it works. What the restrictions will be? Maybe the control of, if we don't have the control of these models, it's not, it would be very bad restriction for us. But I think we could control it by the instruction. We involve in creation instruction for the talkers. And we involve in determine the requirements of the quality of the model. So our ML engineers work with the adaptive ML models engineers, and we determine which metrics should we optimize for our models.
Going for the shirt here. What's the significant mention? When you say significant, does it prioritize?
Yeah. If this mentions is only about the particular brand or about company. For example, if someone say that there are a lot of good companies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is not significant. It's the mentions. It's nice to know about that, but it's not significant. Or if someone write the whole article about the brand, and they mention that it's brand, it's this is the goods, the good things that the brand doing. Is this significant?
I mean, it's a different thing that when I mention the company, then Kim Kardashian mentions the company. From your point of view, it's the same.
If someone mentioned this brand, if it's only the one brand inside the mentions, it would be significant.
There's a difference between me and Kim Kardashian, although she might mention 2 brands and still, I guess it would be significant.
Good point. Yeah, we definitely need to work on that.
Want the shirt? No.
Okay.
Can I ask? Thanks a lot, Vlad, for your keynote. Yeah, I would like to say, would like to ask 2 questions. The first one, as I understood, your service is B2B. Am I right?
Yeah.
And the second one is, do you plan to make some kind of demo for companies to try it?
Yeah, we have a demo. We have, like I said, the free trial. And we could make a demo for the different companies as we do for now. So for a Town Legend, for Latam region, we focus on the agencies. And we start to work with the agencies because they have a lot of such tasks like brand awareness,
Yeah.
like monitoring different sources about the brand or company. So yeah,
Great. Thanks.
yeah, this there.
Thank you. Thank you for the lecture.
Thank you.
I wanted to know, how do you handle a tweet or, a Facebook post that someone posted in 2 languages? So, for example, I wrote, I'm in a restaurant and I wrote, the waiters, let's say it's in Hebrew, the waiters, they helped me, and then they went out sad. So it's not positive. The meaning of the Hebrew is just unknown, but then there's sad, which says it's negative.
Yeah, good question. Because it's a lot of depends on the language of mention, and for now we basically monitoring the gathering mentions from the Twitter and Facebook based on open APIs. So and we get the mentions on the language which this API return to us. So basically, if there is mentions on the English, so we gather in the English, and after that we analyze this mention. Or if it's basically on the Spanish or in Portuguese, so we analyze in this language. So we don't choose in which language we gather the data. We request to the API, give us the mentions about this brand, and they reply us such mentions.
Would you consider separating the languages, if you could?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think we need to do it because maybe it could help to improve the quality of the classification of the sentiment classification if we have the mention on 2 languages and we could compare the result. Yeah. Thank you.
First of all, thank you.
Thank you.
And second of all, I was away for a bit. Maybe you talked about it, but when you give a certain keyword to Smelter, how do you collect the corresponding data to that keyword so you can classify the sentiment?
Yeah, for now, our sentiment is we calculate the sentiment about the mentions in whole. But our main goal for the, I think, next couple of months to understand the sentiment connected with the exactly keywords. So how we gonna to solve this question, this task? We collect the data, the text, the keywords, and the labeling. So after that, we collect. We create a data set with such data and train our models. I think it could help to understand.
So the
Yeah, we just need to create such a data set with and show the models that you need to understand this token, exactly token, which is keyword.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you. I would like to ask about emojis. Do you and how you take them into consideration?
No, for now we don't understand the emoji, but it's a we, we have a lot of ideas, and the emoji is one of that. We for now we create a word of cloud based on hashtags and based on the mentions, but based on the words. But we know about the tasks of analyzing the emoji and analyzing the building the word of calls of emoji. Oh, maybe maybe I don't understand you correctly. That you asked about the sentiment in the emoji inside the text. How do we use this emoji inside the text? Okay. I don't have the great answer about this because we, for now, I think that we don't use such information for sentiment classification. But it's a good point to use this data as additional labeling information, additional information to the labeling different classes. So I think we could try it.
How does the model account for change in sentiment classes over time? Are there any analytic tools that incorporate time series techniques for Smelter?
No, there is no any tools like that.
Okay. Guys, any other questions? Oh, yes. And also online question. Has there found to be a bias in classification of less understood languages when it comes to sarcasm or rhetorical devices that would be more difficult for a foreigner of that language to detect?
Yeah, this is the one of the problem to understand the sarcasm, and we only the way to solve such problem. Basically, for now, we understand the three main classes for sentiment: is the positive, negative, and the neutral. For now, we don't understand the sarcasm inside the language. Yeah. Thank you. It's a lot of ideas, a lot of great points to improve our product. Thank you a lot.